Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I post a lot of different videos about a lot of different things, but lately I feel like I've been posting a lot of travel videos because during the month of January I went to Jacksonville, Florida, New York City, and Barcelona, and here in today's video I'm going to be talking about my trip to Barcelona. I did the Barcelona city experience with EF Ultimate Break, and I'm going to be kind of giving you like my little information, my tidbits about it, kind of be doing a review of it, telling you the good, the bad, was it worth it? So without further ado, let's get on to the video. To start off with, I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of the company that I traveled with. So you might have seen them, they do a lot of the education trips with the high school students, so you've probably seen them like come into high school classrooms to like promote their trips, but they also have a tour company for adults, which is EF Go Ahead Tours, and then there's EF Ultimate Break, which is more so geared to young adults age 18 to 35, and EF Ultimate Break is the one that I took this trip with, and actually really enjoyed it. And I actually have 2 more trips scheduled with them for this summer, and there's quite a few trips I want to go on in the future with this company. I mean, they have trips all over the place. They have Thailand, Singapore, Egypt. I mean, pretty much everything is on the table with this company. And something I really liked about this company is when you sign up for a trip, they do kind of like your flights and everything for you. I mean, you can do your flights by yourself, but when you book your flights through them, you're a little more safe in terms of if something were to happen, they're more likely to cover it. But that's essentially like a little overview of what EF Ultimate Break is. And the specific trip that I took with them recently was the Barcelona City Experience Tour, and it was 8 days, and it was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of great people. And also, to go along with these trips, you're not like going by yourself, you're in a big group of people. My group was 20. When my parents went to Europe with EF Go Ahead, I believe they had over 30 something people in the group, so there's a pretty decent size group that you're going with. So that is the overview of EF Ultimate Break. Next off, I'm going to talk about transportation and accommodations. So start off with, I booked my flights through EF, so they handled all of the booking for me and just gave me my flight numbers and my ticket information, and I got lucky. They ended up putting me through Delta, which I pretty much mainly do Delta American Airlines. So that was the airline that I went through with them. And I will say this has nothing to do with EF Ultimate Break, has everything to do with the weather. But so first I started off in Tri-Cities, which I then flew to Atlanta Airport and had about a 5-hour layover there. And unfortunately it did start snowing in Atlanta. I did get very nervous because it was snowing pretty heavy before we left, and we did board the plane on time. But once we got on the plane, we were on the tarmac for 2 hours. Because essentially what happened, we had to wait in a line to get de-iced, and I'm pretty sure every single airplane that was at the Atlanta airport had to go through icing. So we had to wait through a big line to go through de-icing and then through a line to take off. So we were about 2 hours late taking off. But I got very lucky. It was not a full flight, and I chose to sit towards the back because I wanted a window seat and I wanted to be close to the restroom. And I ended up having the row to myself, which is really, really awesome. I mean, it was a 232 Boeing. So it was Boeing 737, I think. I'm not sure. Not really knows just on planes, but I ended up getting the row to myself, and I got to lay out and sleep, which was nice. Some people had the whole 3 row to themselves. Pretty much for that back section, we all had rows to ourselves, which was pretty nice. And then once we got to the Barcelona airport, we met with our tour guide, and they bussed us to our hotel. And the hotel we stayed at was Hotel Villa de Mat, and it was a really nice hotel in my opinion, very centrally located, so you never really had to walk too far for really anything. You were close to the bus stops, the metro. You didn't really have to walk very far to anything with this hotel. And I will say it was very clean, and I really enjoyed this hotel. And the beds were comfortable. That is a number one thing for me. The only thing is, this is a culture thing, but they have bidets. And at first it took me a second to remember what bidets were. So every time I would like use the restroom, I would just be sitting there staring at it. But also, the one like negative thing about the hotel was there was no air conditioning. And I will say I went in January and it was a little bit warm. But honestly, once you just open a window, it was perfectly fine. And I like the sounds of the city to go to sleep with anyway. But also, this could have just been me being a complete idiot, but you could not take a shower without flooding the bathroom. But over all of that, the hotel was really nice. Really enjoyed it. If I were to go back to Spain, I'd probably stay there again. But along with transportation, our tour guide gave us the little metro card where you get 10 passes for the metro, which you can use for the bus and the like little subway station. So we got that when we got there, so we didn't have to worry about paying for transportation, except I ended up running out of passes. So I ended up getting like a 48-hour metro pass, which only cost me $20, and I went so many different places, so I personally thought it was worth it. But yeah, pretty much for the most part, when you pay for your trip, your transportation is covered. And they also had a taxi that took you back to the airport when you departed your trip. So you did not have to stress about transportation really at all. Now I'm going to talk about food. So with a lot of trips, you get included meals. Through our hotel, we got free breakfast, so we didn't have to worry about that. I mean, a lot of people did go out for breakfast, but I don't eat breakfast anyway, so I didn't really have to worry about it. And then we also had 3 included dinners, and the dinners were nice. They weren't like tiny little dinners. We had like full course meals. Essentially, like we're talking appetizers, full entrees, desserts, drinks, because your drinks were included, which I will say, as someone who doesn't like alcohol, I did try sangria. And I did try like all the alcoholic beverages there. Took a sip and quickly realized I don't like to drink alcohol. So my trip mates were very gracious enough to take them from me. So there was that. I will say the sodas in Spain taste so different. I don't know what it is, but they don't taste like normal like Sprite would in the United States, which that was really weird for me. Plus Starbucks, you have a lot of different flavors. I had a cool lime refresher from Starbucks. So that's just a little bit about the food. I mean, one night I had steak and it was really freaking good. So you're not starving. And also food in Spain, I didn't find it to be that expensive. Also, something about traveling in Spain that's very different from the US is the tipping culture. So I know in America, you like go out to eat, it's $40, you tip like $10. There you're just gonna round up to the euro. Like if it's 15.70 euros, you're just gonna round up 16 or something like that, or you just tip a euro. So didn't have to worry about that. That was kind of weird for me, especially as a server who's like, if I don't get my tips, my bills aren't getting paid. So that was a kind of a strange thing to get used to. But yeah, the food, I enjoyed it over there, especially all of the food and the included dinners were very good. So next I'm going to talk about the itinerary and all of the activities that we did while on the trip and what was included. So we had a mixture of days where we had packed full with stuff to do, and then we also had free days where we could kind of pick and choose what we wanted to do, and there was also optional excursions that you could pay a little extra for. So I know for the first day, once we arrived, we kind of just walked around, got lunch, and then had our welcome dinner. So it was a pretty casual day. So like our tour director took us around some different neighborhoods of Barcelona and then just kind of let us go on our own. And then the second day was completely packed with stuff to do. I know we went to Park Güell, La Sagrada Familia. We were out the entire day and it was just go, go, go. And we saw a lot of different things, and we saw a lot for that day that we were out doing it. And they have local tour guides, so you have your tour director and he sets up other tours for you guys through the local tour guides there. So for that day we had someone going around showing us things, explaining all the different history of everything. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. First off, if you've never been to Barcelona, a lot of these huge monuments are a lot to take in, especially La Sagrada Familia, which is the church that we have there that's not even finished. And it's breathtaking too, like a lot of the aerial shots you can get. Like I'll put some pictures around me as I'm talking about it, but that first day was a lot. Also, I did not get back till like super late that night because I think I got back to the hotel at 3 a.m. the next morning. because we also, after the welcome dinner, went out. Of course, we kind of like bar hopped, which for me, something I thought was very interesting for Barcelona. Very easy to find mocktails in comparison to the United States. I feel like it was more common to find them there. So I never felt kind of weird about not being the one drinking alcohol. So also, I will say this, the people on the tour, like, I feel like I've been in a lot of places where I've been judged for not drinking alcohol. Never felt that once while on this trip with the people I was with. So that was definitely a plus. And then also that night, our tour director had set up for us to go get tapas and then see a flamenco show. So we paid a little extra for that, and definitely that was worth it. Very interesting to go to the flamenco show because it's something very different than what we would normally see in the United States. It was just very cool. Also, the venue was just gorgeous. And then also the next day, he set up a bike tour, which I will say, he was like, this is just a chill bike tour. That was a lie. Also, I'm very out of shape, so that's probably why I'm saying that. But he set up a bike tour through one of the bike tour companies. I believe it was Green Bikes in Barcelona. I know we start off in Gothic Quarter, I believe. I could be very wrong, but, or Elborn, I can't remember. But we rode off, we went to the beach, and we also went to one of the parks. It was like, I'm gonna pronounce it, it was like La Ciutadella? I can't pronounce anything, but we went to the park and we saw one of the big fountains designed by Gaudi, which, if you don't know anything about Spain, Gaudi has a huge presence in Spain. I mean, our tour guide was an architect. He's in architecture. That's what he studied. So obviously he had a little upper hand about explaining all of the Gaudi architecture there. And Gaudi had a fountain in the park that we went to on that bike tour. And then we also rode down to the beach, which, funny story, apparently we passed a nude beach and I did not know, because I was so concerned with trying not to hit somebody with that bike that I didn't even notice. But apparently that is a thing there too, which you ain't gonna see that in the United States. But, you know, that's just like kind of the differences of culture over there versus the United States. And of course, once again, with tipping, you kind of just tip like €1 for that. And then after the bike tour, one of the optional excursions that we had on this trip that you booked through UF, not our tour director, this was through EF, was the Tapas tour. I pronounced that so wrong, Tapas tour. And we met the little tour guide at the market, and he took us to this one little restaurant, and we had a couple tapas. And I mean, for what we paid, I feel like it was a fair price. I mean, I didn't really enjoy some of the tapas, but I mean, that's to be given. I mean, everyone's gonna have different tastes. But and then we went to a little coffee shop and I tried espresso, which that is also where I learned that unless there is about 80% cream, sugar, whipped cream, ice cream in my coffee, I can't do it. But it was kind of a really cool experience. I enjoyed talking to our tour guide as well on that, which also, once again, with these excursions, they're booked through EF and they work through EF. They offer their services to this company. So that was the day 2/3. I counter arrival day, but really this was like the first and second days were really when we did stuff. And then obviously the next day we had the optional excursion, which was a day trip to Montserrat, which is the monastery there. And of course I was out till 3 a.m. again. And then I had my alarm set. And of course, everybody knows there's this thing going with Apple alarms, and my alarm did not go off, so I did miss the bus. But I ended up going and visiting the park that's right below Mount Tibidabo, which I probably pronounced that, which I will say too, one of the things was hearing me pronounce stuff, especially with my thick southern accent. It was a little difficult, but it was right under Mount Tibidabo, which was closed, but the park was open. It was a really nice park, a lot of walkways, and once again, great aerial views of the city, because I just used this as like a little free day, and then I just traveled around, and then once again went bar hopping with a group of people on my trip, and that was kind of what I did that day. Then the next day was our last day really that we had there, and so what I did with that is I went to Labyrinth Park. And one thing to know about Labyrinth Park is it was really cool. It has in the center like this big hedge maze that you can go through, and it's based off like kind of like Greek mythology. And also something to note is on Sundays, a lot of stuff has free admission, but also a lot of stuff is closed on Sundays, which I learned in Barcelona. So that was kind of like all the stuff that we did that was either included or just stuff I decided to do on my own. So I'm also going to talk about kind of the cost of everything associated with this trip. So with the trip I did, the Barcelona City experience, you can either do Essential or like the Plus one, which you get a nicer hotel and more included meals. With Essential, you typically end up in hostels. They're nice hostels, but you share a room with a lot more people and don't have as many included dinners, but I did the Plus for this trip. So that's why I had 3 included dinners and was in a hotel, and I only had 1 roommate. So after airfare and the optional excursions, I want to say altogether it was about $3,500. And I think half of that went to my airfare because it was such a long flight and it is an international flight. So the optional day to Montserrat was $110. I didn't get to go to, so obviously that wasn't worth it, but if I had gone, it would have definitely been worth the money. And then the Tapas tour that was through EF was $65. So I think it was pretty decent for like the food, the tour guide that was hired. Because obviously with a lot of it, it's the local tour guide you're paying. That's where a lot of this money goes to. And then the excursions that were planned through our tour guide himself, the bike tour was $25, and the tapas and flamenco show was $40. I want to say, I believe it was $40. So it wasn't that expensive, and I think it was definitely worth it. We got a couple of tapas at the little restaurant, and then we went to the flamenco show. So that was kind of like the cost breakdown of everything, but you have to pay your tour guide, the local tour guides, your hotel. So I think everything was very worth it. If I was to try and plan this out by myself, I probably would have spent so much more money than just booking through EF. So definitely think booking through EF Ultimate Break was definitely the way to go. I think it was definitely worth it and saved me a lot of money. And I will say, I had a great time. I enjoyed our tour director, who was very kind, knew a lot about everything around Barcelona. And also just getting to meet all the different people on our trip. I mean, we had people from Miami, Iowa, California. We had Canadians on our trip, which I will say, I think they wanted to smack me every time I brought up Lululemon, because I'm a Lululemon girly and I couldn't help thanking them for their contribution. I'm a weirdo. I can't help it. And then also, like, you obviously spend money like on your own, buying souvenirs, food, drinks, but all that I feel like was so much cheaper than if you're like gonna get it in the US. I mean, I will say one night I did drink, which I drink responsibly, so I will say that, and I managed to get 2 Jack and Cokes and 2 shots. I think I only paid $30 for all of it. You cannot do that in America. Also with mocktails, I spent about $10 for the mocktails. America is gonna be $20. I mean, yes, there were some bars in Barcelona where they were a little more expensive, but I know a lot of people took advantage of the included drinks and their included meals, because we got 2 drinks with our meals. A lot of people got like wine and sangria. I got Sprite and Fanta, which they have Fanta Lime in Barcelona, and I have yet to find it here, and that makes me sad. But overall, if you want to book a trip, I would definitely choose this. Also, it's very structured, which is something I enjoy. I didn't have to worry about planning anything. It was all planned for me, so definitely worth the money. My final verdict is definitely that I would recommend EF Ultimate Break. Definitely would recommend the Barcelona trip as well. I mean, it goes to say, I mean, I have 2 more trips booked with them, so obviously I enjoy this tour company. And especially, I'm a solo traveler, so being able to do that but still go with a group is a phenomenal experience. I mean, you meet people and you learn so much from those people, so definitely would recommend this experience. And I think it makes international travel a lot safer and a lot less stressful, because I mean, it's scary to go to a foreign country by yourself, and having a tour guide who knows everything, can kind of guide you places. I loved that. I mean, plus I'm just so excited for my next trips that I have planned with EF. But y'all will hear about that. We're like 85 days out from Belize, which is the next trip I'm going on. I'm going to Belize and Costa Rica with EF this summer. And y'all will obviously hear a lot about that. And also probably gonna be ended up back in Florida a couple times as well in between. So obviously I will be taking you guys along for all of it. And I hope you guys enjoy my little review. And obviously, if you want to take a trip, take it with EF. And that's how I'm gonna end this. And till next time, see you guys.